Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Oh, I appreciate you joining us. I have a question for you. What's your excuse? What's your excuse? We all have excuses. We come up with them even to ourselves. Why do we create these excuses? Are they valid? We're going to dig deep into that. She always gives us a lot of insight as an amazing psychotherapist. She works with everybody, whether it's adults, couples, children. We all have excuses. My excuse for a great show is to bring her in here. She is Susie Engel, and she's back on the program. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, Steve. How are you?
You know, what I just said there, now I'm processing it. I said, my excuse for bringing her on here is I love what you do and the insight you bring. Is it really an excuse?
No.
Thank you.
It's a good reason.
It's a reason.
It's
okay.
a good reason. Yeah,
okay.
It's a good reason to have Susan Engel on. And also, I think someday the audience, like we need to have a mass audience, just an open time for longer than what our podcast is, and have people ask questions and just address the questions live.
At the very least, you can always email us and check in instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com. But yes, I agree. We'll put that on the planner. So
wouldn't it be fun?
what anyway. Is let's go basic. What is an excuse?
Well, I thought it would be a great discussion for us to work through, because an excuse is, I believe, the difference between a good reason and a rationale. That's one thing, because you said, is it an excuse to have Susan Engel on my podcast? Or is it, and I said, no, it's not an excuse. It's a good reason, right? An excuse is, we've been talking about denial in some of our conversations. I think an excuse is like an out to not be honest with ourselves or not be honest with others. And I think it becomes very convoluted and it rubs me the wrong way. And maybe I also do it unconsciously, make excuses, but I'd rather, really hold myself accountable and just say I didn't get to it than make a reasoning or a rationale why.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yes.
It's complicated.
It is. This is more than I ever thought, because we're talking about excuses, rationale, reasons, accountability. So instead of an excuse, if we looked at it from the standpoint of accountability, okay, I set a commitment to work out. I'll give an example here, hypothetical, whatever. It's actually true. Set a commitment to work out. And let's say you're away. Oh, I said I was going to work out 4 times this week, but I was away. So that's my excuse for not working out. Well, is it really? Because at the hotel, they have a gym. You could work out. You set a commitment. You didn't do it. You're using an excuse. Well, I'm away. Is that even valid, or is that, how would you reframe that with?
So it's not an excuse. I mean, the bottom line is, it's kind of funny too, because, New Year's resolutions.
Sure.
My mother, when people would ask, what's your New Year's, or this is my New Year's, my mother would say, why would you do that? Everybody breaks their New Year's resolutions at some point, So there's a difference between committing to myself, if I made a commitment to go to the gym however many times a week and I'm traveling, we can still go to the gym because hotels have gyms. So if I don't go, at least just say I didn't make it to the gym 4 times this week and I want to pay myself back. That's how I do things. I kind of pay myself back if I fall short of a goal or something. But I wouldn't say because I was traveling, because no matter where you go, most gym memberships are nationwide. And not only that, every hotel has some sort of gym.
Yeah. Okay. So here we go. And this common phrase, you have no excuse.
Exactly. Yeah. Excuses really rub me the wrong way. They are apologetic. They are, I would say, not a good reflection. If I use excuses, it's not a great reflection of me.
Well,
And I don't like that.
there was a
Because I want to
movement.
reflect well.
If I don't know if you remember this, I don't know, maybe like 10, 15 years ago, you would see stickers everywhere. And I don't know if it was a brand or whatever it was, but it was no excuses. I think there was even jeans called no excuses jeans. And now I'm seeing that maybe that's the way we should roll here. No excuses, because it's almost a way to justify a fault, lessen the blame. Well, I didn't work out because I was away on vacation. So you want to blame yourself for not working out. So you're lessening the blame to yourself, but you really have no excuse because there are gyms everywhere. Now I'm trying to process this, Susie, with excuses. What did we last use as an excuse? What did we say to ourselves or say to others? And was it even valid? Or should we just take the word excuse and take it, crumple it, and throw it out?
Right. So, I mean, let me just backtrack to what you just said, because it's not about blame or self-blame. It's not about finding fault or pointing the finger. It's not I mean, that's a whole nother couple of podcasts probably, because I don't think that it serves us well to assign blame or blame ourselves. I feel like it's just unproductive. But when it comes to excuses, I mean, people make excuses for other people in their lives. People will say, oh, he struggles with that. So, well, you know what? He struggles with that is a fact. But it's not an excuse not to figure out how to push through that struggle or how to not expect less of somebody. And I think when I make excuses for myself over the history of my life, I feel like that's what really rubs me the wrong way, because first, I don't think I'm respecting myself or expecting all that I can do or all that I can be, however actualized I am at any point in my life. And second, I don't want to have a lie in my mind's eye to sell myself short. I just don't think it's a reflection of healthy self-worth. And it always seems like I come back to that discussion. And I don't mean I have to grab a tissue.
Well, how about we look at it? How about we break some of these down? Because now, this is what you do so perfectly. Present these things, and then we think about it and why we do what we do. So I'm thinking that if you give a reason, there's usually facts behind the reason. It's factual. Where an excuse is more of a deflection of responsibility or blame. You're trying to take that away. It's an excuse because it may not be based on fact. So the working out thing on vacation. If you said, well, there's no gym at the hotel, and my membership is not good in any of the gyms within the geographic area of where I was on vacation.
True.
So I'm giving a reason. That's my reason for not working out. And I would say either to myself or somebody else, that's valid. That's a valid reason.
Valid. I think that's valid.
You presented
I was thinking
facts.
the same word. That's valid. Now, we can still go outside and walk or do intervals or whatever.
Jog on the
But
beach. Yes, you are. You're
yes,
right.
we could swim, we can do all that. But aside from that, that's valid. That is, oh, I was looking forward to doing my routine at the gym that we do in the gym. That is not going for a walk. That is really working out whatever we're doing, working out at the gym. And there was no gym available in the vicinity of the hotel or the resort, and there was no gym at the resort. Okay, that's fine.
Hmm.
That's valid. I also think that when I'm working with clients, which is separate from our personal lives, of course, but when I'm working with clients and they're rationalizing things, I think it prevents them from going into these deep moments of going inward and just trying to understand them better,
Mm.
themselves better, I should say, right? And rationalizing keeps a barrier from that. And it keeps us at this surface level, which I find superficial. And it's not really allowing ourselves to look deeply into how can I grow around this? A
Mm.
rationalization is an excuse. A rationalization is saying,
Yes.
oh,
So, okay, we've identified a lot here already in just a couple of minutes. So, rationale or rationalization is just a fancy word for an excuse. Would you say that's
yes,
kind of accurate there?
yes, I
I
do.
agree.
And I think it happens in one part of our bodies. I think it happens in our left brain where we're very adept at thinking a certain way to protect ourselves from just sitting with what might be uncomfortable. Maybe it's uncomfortable for me to say, I fell short of my goals this week or this year. And wow, a whole year has gone by, and I thought I was going to write 6 chapters of a book and do this and do that. Well, if I'm feeling shame about that, I'm going to make excuses. But if I say, I wonder how I can regroup around it, I really fell short of my own goals.
Hmm.
That's not an excuse. That's just the truth. I fell short
I
and I
fell
don't want
short, but what's going to happen next? Typically, I'm going to give you an excuse.
to. Maybe, or maybe I'm going to say, I don't want to go through that vitriol of coming up with excuses. It doesn't
I know.
feel
All right,
good.
I'm going to be
I don't
transparent
like it.
here, and I had this conversation with him. So I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. I had a goal to work out. Beginning of the year, I was on great path. I started before the beginning of the year. Call it the New Year's resolution. I don't really do resolutions. It was a commitment to work out regularly. I
Right.
started getting up early. I was getting up at like 5 something in the morning. I would meet a friend at the gym. We'd been doing it for a few months. But I started realizing, even after the first of the year, that I wasn't really getting a good workout as I expected. Part of that was he likes to talk. And, all right, so then I go along with the talking. I don't want to talk. A couple of quick things here and there. All right,
Yeah.
spot me on this machine, blah, 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 whatever. It turns into, and what could have been an hour is now an hour and a half. So I don't know if that's an excuse. So I stopped going, and I'm going to refocus and go again, either not talking a lot with him or back to doing it myself. But that's my reason. And I think it's valid. I even had the conversation with him too. It was like, yeah, you like to talk a lot. I don't want to do that. I want to work out. That's why I'm there.
Well,
So
and there's nothing wrong you know, I would say assessing this experience about working out with a friend and having this accountability. I mean, it's good to buddy up sometimes and have that accountability.
and that could happen occasionally where we have a deeper conversation, something came up and we're looking at something, but this is on more on a regular basis where I
Right.
wasn't feeling productivity.
Yes, and it's okay to say, when I work out, I need some quietness when I'm counting, or I like to focus on what my muscles are experiencing or what my physiological experience is. And find a way just to set a boundary with this friend that I don't want to gab the whole time because it distracts me from, not you talk a lot, but I like to focus on what I'm supposed to be noticing when
Well,
I'm
you
doing
you
these
are right.
exercises.
Thank you for saying that, because I put it more on this person, and really, it's on me, because
Yes,
he may be cool with that.
yes,
Not for me.
like
So
I get that.
I should have flipped it and should
Said,
say, I'm not here to talk. I'm here to work out. If you want to talk, then maybe somebody else. But instead, I got kind of like you talk a lot, and I should have done it the other way around. Yeah, I get it.
remember we said we can say anything diplomatically,
I
that's an
forgot. I
example
forgot
of
a
it.
Susie rule. I forgot a
But
Susie rule.
it's also really taking my own accountability. When I'm exercising, I really get into noticing which muscle groups and if I'm tweaking or not tweaking or whatever that is. And then the person who I'm working out with might just click and say, I get it. Good thinking, and maybe I'll improve my workout by
Mhm.
focusing on that as well.
I
But
know
the
that
big
will improve for both.
for both of us.
Yeah.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right, right.
Yeah, so maybe I'll
Um,
revisit it and maybe set the ground rules where, a little conversation here and there, but the conversation really, in my opinion, should be about the workout. All right, so what are we going to do the next? We're going to take care of
yes,
abs next. How do you want to do it? Do you want to do machines? Do you want to do it on a mat? La, 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 la. That's okay. That's part of
of
what we're there
course.
for.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, keep
Mm.
the focus. But I think that there's something about the flavor of making excuses that turn into two things that are not healthy. I think one is it is, and we talked about denial a couple of times ago, or walking on eggshells a couple of times, denial before that. But I think
Mm.
I think if we make excuses, we're not being honest with ourselves. And I think when somebody makes excuses to us, they are not being honest with us. And so it becomes a trust thing. And I'd rather not make excuses and just be straight up with people so that they get the flavor that I am trustworthy and I also know myself pretty well.
I'm realizing here. I started saying this a couple of years ago, and I guess I got away from it. Pilot on the facts. Just live by the facts. The facts don't lie. Lots of people try to bend the facts, but really, the foundation is a fact is a fact. So if you're using an excuse, it's probably not fact based.
Correct. It's a
Hmm.
little, it's a little bit of I'm not being honest either with the person or definitely I'm not being honest with myself. And I mean, that does not sit well. It does not feel well. And if it gets comfortable, that's a huge problem. And this is the problem with people who do make excuses because it becomes their out to being responsible for themselves and up leveling and
Yeah.
growing within.
Avoiding blame.
Uh,
Kind of what it's.
avoiding accountability,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
self uh,
I know
responsibility,
this is a
avoiding
wake up
responsibility.
completely. It's
Why would we
almost
want to do
self-serving.
that? Yeah, why? Why would we want to do that though? It's so distorted. And
Wow.
also it breaches trust. So if somebody makes excuses with me or rationalizes with me in personally, I'm not talking about clients because that's different. Clients are learning how to learn about themselves and learning how to process things in a new way. I appreciate that. I'm not talking about that, but in my personal life, if somebody is not being honest with me and making excuses or rationales, it's severing our trust. That's not a good thing. Then I'm going to disconnect from that person rather than feel more connected with that person. Excuses are huge, right? I
Oh
don't
my
know
gosh.
what to call
You know, I've always viewed it a little bit of a dirty word in a way. And, it's almost
That's funny.
stop with the excuses. But I didn't view it to this depth, how really negative it is. Not a good thing. But it really is just designed to avoid blame. It's self-serving. It's usually not fact-based. And
Yes.
you can come up with an excuse for anything. You
Yes.
can, but you can't come up with a reason for anything because maybe there's no reason.
And
And that's a
also,
fact.
I want to just add this. If we also get in the habit of making excuses, then we are eventually, that's going to generalize like everything does within us. And,
Mm.
it becomes our perspective. And if we become really good at it, then we start making excuses for other people in our lives. And that becomes very enabling. And that becomes very um, I would say
Hmm.
detrimental. And it also is if we make excuses for our children, if we make excuses for our loved ones in our personal lives, we are saying, I don't expect that much from you. And that doesn't feel good. I like it when people expect a lot from me, and I expect a lot from me. It teaches me to always treat myself better. Does that make sense?
It really does. And all right. So a question. Is an excuse a lie?
Yes.
Oof. Oof. Oh boy.
I mean, straight up. Straight up. I mean, I didn't want to start with that because then it's like, oh, conversation over.
Um, but,
But
but
I just think it is. I think either somebody is lying to themselves, like the denial conversations we've had, or they're just, and maybe they're not aware of it. I'm not saying everybody's like out to make up a lie, but I do think that excuses distort people's realities.
see what I'm doing here in my mind. And again, I've said this before, your superpower, you make us think. You like massage the mind. So I'm thinking of any excuses I may have given in the past couple of days, week, whatever. I'm going back, and there's one, and I was supposed to complete a task, a lesson online for someone that they provided, and there's a reason for it. Haven't done it. I put it off. I start to do it, then I become deflected. I'm working on something else, and part of my excuse to myself, you really don't have time to do that. The reality is,
Yeah.
shut up, Susie. The reality of that is, yeah, you do. You could find the time. It's been weeks. So what I'm using that. Well, every time I started there, something comes up. If I really wanted to do it, I would have done it weeks ago. I would have done it
and
weeks ago.
you're giving yourself the solution too. Because what you're saying is when I settled to do this, I also owe it to myself to not be interrupted. I mean, that's the solution.
I'm interrupting myself, though, because all I need to do to get this task done, of which I said I was going to do, is set aside 30 minutes and just do it.
Complete it.
I'm
Yes.
like, hello, Steve, you don't have 30 minutes in the last 3 weeks. You're like, really? Seriously?
Yes.
Because if I really wanted to do it, I would. But the reason, factual, I really don't want to do it.
Well, then what is that about, right? So I think that's going to be a whole nother podcast.
Well, that's not
Because-
even important. That here today at this moment, that's not important. That's to identify and figure that out. I already know the
what I want
answer.
to do and what I need to do.
Yes, and I already
what
know.
that self-discipline is, or
I
whatever.
already-
That's a whole nother issue.
And I already know the answer for me in this particular
Yes, so-
example. I already do. I'm not lying to myself, but I am lying to myself when I say,
I just didn't have the time.
I didn't have time.
That's not true.
That's not
Right.
true. Yeah.
Right.
I'm lying.
I
You're a
just
liar.
didn't set aside the time, and I let myself get distracted or whatever.
Well,
Yeah.
I
Really good.
I distracted myself and got other things done because I don't want to do it. What a conversation. What an eye opener. And it seems somewhat simple, but there's a lot there between the excuse, the rationale, the reason, the accountability, part of what you offer. Wow. I'm actually going to share this with others. And I'm going to actually challenge myself. I will never give an excuse again. I will never give an excuse again. There are no excuses. And back to that campaign, whatever the heck it was, no excuses. It was right. It was real.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
I don't remember what that was.
I don't either, but I would see, it's a black background with white text, and it would say
I
no
remember.
excuses. Yeah, but I don't know what it was for, but you know what? It made sense. How do we find you? What's the best way? What's your website?
My website, it's my name, Susan Engel -lcsw.com.
Yeah, and you can work with anybody, anywhere, virtually.
Yeah.
And
all of our podcasts are listed up there, linked up there on my website now too.
Oh, thank you for the reminder.
It's very good for people to go on there and they can listen to other conversations you and I have had.
Yeah, it's like while you're jogging or doing whatever you're doing, you're in therapy in a light way.
But I think that's what therapy is just broaden our minds, broaden our perspectives. I never thought of it that way. That's really great. I mean, who wouldn't want to think broadly?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we are at a time. That's not an excuse. That's a reason that we have to end because we're out of time. That's not an excuse. Always love talking with you.
Steve.
As always, what an eye opener.
Thank you. No, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
I'm so glad.
All right. We'll talk soon. Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.